Capsicums are going to form the main part of this dish. It's a smoked paprika and capsicum dip. Now this one was a bit too large, so I've chopped him to an appropriate size. So don't feel that when you're at the fruit and veggie shop, you need to pick only the shaped fruit that's the right size and the right colour. Just go for freshness. So this dip has half a cup of soaked cashews that have been soaking for a few hours, or overnight is even better, which I'm going to rinse. So remember, we're soaking to not only remove the inhibitor enzymes, but also to make them nice and creamy, so they're going to blend. It's okay to have a chunky dip too. So that's going into my food processor along with the capsicums. Let's drag this a little bit closer. So that's going to give the dish a really beautiful, vibrant colour. I'm going to add 1/4 cup of lemon juice, which is sometimes, not always, 1 lemon juiced. So if you juice your lemon and find out that it's not quite 1/4 cup, don't panic. Sure, you could go and cut open another lemon, but it's not necessary. In my household, there's no such thing as too much lemon. That's why I've measured it in terms of 1/4 cup. It's also a good way to use up those little half leftover lemons. So let's just measure it just out of curiosity's sake. See, isn't nature good? On average, 1/4 cup of lemon juice per lemon. Okay, then we're going to add some garlic. Bearing in mind, not all cloves of garlic are created equal. So if a recipe calls for 1 or 2 cloves of garlic, choose your poison. I'm going the big one. Squash it to remove the skin. So I'd be inclined to put more garlic in there, but I'm making this friendly for people who want to go out and have a social life later on. People often ask vegans, where do they get their calcium if they're not going to have a glass of milk? Well, my answer to them is from sesame seeds. Now, tahini is a great source of sesame seeds. This is just hulled sesame seeds ground down. So that oil is just part of the seed. I'm putting 1/4 cup in there. Maybe just a little bit of that for good luck. And then our sunflower seeds and our spices. Now, I wanted to talk to you about having ground versus fresh. Now, I seem to use a lot of cumin and coriander in most salads. I love them, and cooking, and that's great, but they do have a limited shelf life. What's even better is if you buy the whole seed. So I've got whole cumin seeds and whole coriander seeds, and I'm going to heat them up, so dry fry them without oil, and then I'm going to grind them in the mortar and pestle. So I'll just get them on to cook while I add the rest of the ingredients. It's like a symphony. So I'm just going to dry fry them, so it means without oil, as I said before, and it's going to give them a slightly toasted flavour. So while they're toasting, I'm going to add my sesame seeds, just like 3 tablespoons. It's slightly shy of 1/4 cup, although that's probably 1/4 cup now because they were heaped. A drizzle of olive oil, maybe just a tablespoon of olive oil. How much is a tablespoon? I don't know, about 30 mils. And blend. So when we talk about eating unprocessed food, this kind of processing is okay. Sorry, the jug's not in the wrong place. Okay, we got it. The reason why I'm moving the blade around while I scrape it is because actually it's so sharp I don't want it to cut my spatula. So I'm actually protecting my equipment. It's off at the wall, don't worry, I'm not chopping off my fingers. Okay, I've got that done. They smell great. How do I know when it's done? You can start to smell the fragrance. Now, grinding it up in a mortar and pestle. Now, if this seems a bit too laborious for you, you don't have to do this. You can just buy a powdered mix. You could also use a spice grinder that I was using previously. Adding the salt provides extra friction. So you're going to come in there and get a little bit of a view of what's happening there. Grinding down those seeds, and it's a really beautiful fragrance. And I particularly love coriander. It's got a citrus kind of smell. When you buy them whole, they keep their freshness longer. Great, I'd say that's done. I'm going to put that in. Great smell. I'm just going to have a little taste of this actually. It's good. So what I'm looking for is a balance of flavours. I don't put it in and go, yum, delicious, because it takes a while for the flavours to travel along the whole palate of the tongue to each taste bud receptor. I'm looking for a balance of the oil, the fat, the bite from the lemon juice, and it's good. I like it. I'm happy. Scrape out all that beautiful spice. Oh, really good. And the special thing about this dish is also the smoked paprika, which I'm going to add, which is here. Smoked paprika, it is a different flavour to regular paprika, so trust me, make this with the smoked paprika. Half a teaspoon? It's not coming out very quickly. And then mix. That's it. Just going to spoon this goodness in here. That's the trickiest thing I find using these blenders and food processors, just getting it off the blades. You okay? Great. That looks good.